This is Brooks Robards reading Shock and Awe by Arnie Reisman. There goes a sensitive child, little things can drive him wild. I cry each time a dog is put down. I cry at the loss of innocence. I cry at the birth of a brilliant idea. I cry when I heard a promise broken. I cry when mental illness is in whispered, not in treatment. I cry when the color of your skin means that's a target on your back. I cry at holocausts, horror über alles, millions of others killed for being others. But I'm here. What was once alive is now a memory. To friends sucked through holes in the universe. I cry now, I cried then. What was once alive is now a memory. I cry at Linda Ronstadt's Long, Long Time and Neil Young's Harvest Moon when Miles Davis sang with John Coltrane, when Patsy Cline sings Anything. I fall to pieces. All the pieces come back together when I cry at paintings by Turner, by Van Gogh, Sargent, Caravaggio. I cry when my lips touch a ripe mango, when my eyes absorb teal parrots, avocado luminous moths, strawberry sunrises. I cry at vicious cycles, when serial killers rise to power, when the demented make headlines because it shows they have followers. I cry when we forget what we were not going to forget. I cry over the fact that there is a third world. I cry at the planet Pluto's fall from grace. I cry when, kicking and screaming, we take one step forward as a civilization. I cry when I realize that human and inhuman are the same as flammable and inflammable. There goes a sensitive child. Little things can drive him wild. Thank you.
My name is Barbara Peckham. I'm going to read the poem Chemistry by Arnie Reisman. He winks at her, orders another round, wonders how many drinks it'll take to see if they have any chemistry. Or will they fly around in the cosmos, never having the science to find the runway? Chemistry is an acquired taste, says the bartender, cleaning his prism. Abbreviated lives lived in alphabetical order. Delirium carries the heaviest weight, yet opprobrium precedes pandemonium. Periodically, you may invite them to join at your personal table. But seriously, he says, would you want those elements in your neighborhood? Running a tab, he opens another universe. They sat there, waiting for the chemistry to kick in, to mix fluids and futures in harmony. But theorems remained empty, truths unused. No taste for discovery. They had no chemistry. But what they had were signs of botany, things like scent, growth, pollination, recalled later with a rapture not sensed since back in a lab many experiments ago, when Luther Burbank sniffed his Shasta daisy and took a bite out of his juicy plum cot. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Don McLagan, and I'd like to read a poem from Arnie Reisman's book, Sodom and Costello. The poem is called The Accidental Poet. Sitting cross-legged on the closet floor, in the darkness of childhood, dreams in smithereens like lightning-struck field of geese, scampering, flying, this way, that. I could let out my inner self, let it float upward without wings into the soft tunnels of dangling sleeves, like a mind moth fluttering, descending like flower petals into words, shaping, coming together, this way, that. Like blazes of frosted glass in a rewound film, of a light bulb exploding. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Warren Wilsoner, and I'm going to read Arnie's poem, Assisted Loving. She had accommodated to these corridors in this home that was not her home. The fact she faced, even without the music, told her that the choices were slim. They told her that this was her home now, even her church and her world. Between the hymns and the hearse, there is still life, they told her. She knocked on his door, number 221, romance astir on what's left of her mind. An eternity later, he opened the door. Smile greets smile, a human animal reflex. You remind me of my wife, he said to his wife. She blinked twice, her heart fanned itself. Get your typed paper from the night table. He blinked. Are you on it? Is that why? I am Ruth, nothing but Ruth. On a sheet of paper typed by his helpful son, he found her name, properly identified. Below her, all his other ID'd family and friends. Looking at her name kindled spark upon spark. Memories in used clothing popped in and out. He sat down on his bed and opened his arms, as tens of thousands of times before she moved in. Together, they completed the hug of a lifetime. The kiss was still familiar, still warm, still home. Another eternity came and went through the walls. She had accommodated to these corridors.
I'm Holly Burgon, and I'm going to read Arnie's poem, Memory by My Side. We go out for a walk, just a walk. After attaching the crackled leash to the frayed collar of my memory, we go out for a walk. A familiar path through back roads in a leafy past. We walk past houses that remind me to be reminded. A front porch of hormonal awakening, an open window of maternal concern. The crisp morning air puts a bounce in his step. Between a dewy plot mode and a lawn gone wild, we come upon a thicket of dropped yearnings. Behind it he pads down the grass, drops a shoulder, rolls in summers of the 50s. I drop the leash to release the joy. He then gets up, shakes off images turned sepia. We continue, eyes wide open, leash in hand, another scrapbook page flipped. We come upon a garden, a moving palette of Monet's paints. The sounds of fevered pollination mix with a twitching detection. He sniffs the aroma of a runaway passion. We are out for a walk, nothing planned but the route. We stop at an elephant's foot of a beech tree. He lifts his leg, makes his mark, shows the world once again he was here. In the distance, the unintelligible din of daycare, a roar of waves slapping the shores of childhood. Back home, nourished by the walk and sustenance, he lies down, eyes closed, falls into a dream nap, leg joints jerking. He chases older dreams. At night, he goes out to howl at the moon, when once again the moon refuses to answer. My memory takes a competitor's lap, a little walk around life's periphery. Just a walk.
I'd like to share with you a poem by Arnie Reisman called Zen and the Art of Opportunity. Yesterday, I resisted you. Tomorrow gone mute, you fly away. Yesterday you were black as the track of fright. Tomorrow I will be white as the underside of ambition. Yesterday you said you would be the one true teacher. Tomorrow I graduate with honors and other animals. Yesterday you pushed the sun closer to the moon. Tomorrow the stars realigned and spell forgiveness. Yesterday I will never have again. Tomorrow will always be mine, except one time. Thank you.
Go.
Hi, I'm Fan Ogilvy, and I'm going to read a poem by Arnie Reisman titled On the 545 Out of Wedlock. Everything was different this time, yet all the same, the track, the ride, hopes were mocked or cut loose on the 545 out of wedlock. Passing the same parade of disinterested trees like fellow commuters rooted to platforms of discontent. In the empty seat beside him sat the future, staring, mute, his life torn like the ticket stub, stashed like trash above his head. He read through his horoscope with eyes of stone. News stories appeared in a language he hadn't slept with. Nobody answered the ringing in his ears. Nobody asked if he could ever care again. Strained into the street pain until he saw only himself, disembodied, an evident face of some imminent force, a bastard with nothing now to look forward to on tomorrow's train. He'll be sitting next to you.
I'm Clark Myers, and I want to read a poem by Arnie Reisman titled Not to Be. Not to be. It was not meant to be if you believe in fate. It was not going to be if you believe in chemistry. She raised poodles, he raised hell. He grew orchids, she grew weary. She was willing to admit defeat. He was defeated to admit he was willing. It was not built to last if you believe in sustainable architecture. You could see the stress of separation along handmade seams, coming to Jesus and apart. She saw them and began to pull. In panic, he pulled back. Wrapped up in himself, she made him whole. She saw the forest and heard cries of timber. He never saw the forest, only the trees. All cries were blotted out by sounds of the sun. He thought the world of her. She thought the world as all the places she hadn't seen. He thought he took her for what she was. He left nothing to the imagination. In the end, when she left with nothing, but took everything.
Hello, I'm Ellie Bates. I would like to read Timeless. Among rocks rounding themselves in the sun, with air and age lying there in wait, without weight, silently sliding without witness into memory, without care, a poster for yesterday. A young child stands, toes crinkling sands, looking down at his hands that now belong to a man in the autumn haze of life. And yet the summer breezes never stop brewing and the rocks never stop rounding.
The Contrarian by Arnie Reisman. Kneel to prayer to what you cannot see. I will be on the other side, standing on your ceremony. Close the mahogany door to perception. I will be on the other side, looking for a young mind to open. Lean against a firewall of wisdom. I will be on the other side, playing with matches of enlightenment. Build any barricade that keeps the poor from the promise. I will be on the other side, driving down dark highways with Tom Joad, picking up hitchhikers, stunned by the dream, waiting for our fathers to be found again.
Hi, my name is Ellen Martin Story. I'm reading Arnie's poem, Close Encounters with the Third Reich. If you see wings, think angels. As long as we have Easter, Christmas, and Halloween, we will have conspiracy theories, assassins treading on the greener grass. Blinded by the imagination of complacence, we let a deceptive symmetry of fear descend, fade in with a cold front. Turn all eyes down, a walk into a march, a white shirt brown. Hunger is what hunger does. There's always more meat than meets the eye. The parade disperses, the piper remains. Cloaked in confidence, a maniac strikes a match. The flag is burned along with the drummer. I live for millions lost in my family forest. I have survivor's guilt, but I also harbor dark desires. To taste a variety of vengeance, especially when I eat and dance. Therefore, I am a certified human being. The 3 E's in therefore on little quick feet come together in a silent scream. If you hear vultures, think showtime.
Coronavirus 2020. Keep washing until hope shines through. I feel I'm living through the pages cut from the first printing of the Book of Job, the God-approved edition. It was some segment about the threat of end of days or evolution of species. I feel I've been given the job of finding where to punctuate a run-on sentence heading for the final period, at a time when all pens, pencils, and cursors have vanished. This is Y2K 20 years late. This is Eve of Destruction, sung in 1965, now with new lyrics. Words shed meaning like serpent skins. The isolated become the online observant. A holiday repast garnished with ancient plagues is time for the quintessential Passover, staying in place, separate screens, separate meals, surrounded by love and bitter herbs. Remembering the Last Supper was a Seder. The youngest asks the 4 questions. Why is this happening? When will this end? Have we enough supplies? How will the world rebuild? Daniel Defoe wrote about one. Albert Camus wrote about one. Geraldine Brooks wrote about one. A plague that made you feel you were right in it, and now you truly are. Brought to you not by Disney or Universal, but more likely by deaf ears of the forsaken, those not hearing what's in the winds of climate change. what's in the waters of ignorance, what's in the fires of indulgence, what's in the earth of indifference. A line's been crossed. Antisocial behavior. We're now living in and hopefully through what in high school we called a sick joke. Keep washing, masking, gloving, loving. How biblical can it get?
I'm Rich Michelson, and I'm going to read you When Things Are Dried and Cut by my friend Arnie Reisman. It's a live demo or dead giveaway. English is just your stepmother tongue. If you rotate the tires on your ampersand, if you insist on feeling sound and safe, whatever you do, don't think and stop. You could be dancing to roll and rock, listening to Sullivan and Gilbert, watching films in white and black, laughing at Hardy and Laurel, lunching on sandwiches of J and PB, or crossing the pond for chips and fish. We never get tired and sick of take and give. We accept order as our chain and ball and go with the flow and ebb of it all. That was actually hard to do, but brilliantly written. Thank you, Arnie. We miss you.
My name is Susan Puchel, and I'd like to read Arnie's poem, As If Souls Are Costumes. Nobody was ever just a nobody in a previous life. Everybody was a king, a queen, a conqueror, a concubine. Never a baker, a barber, a butterfly. Never a livery driver, a Red Cross worker, a bottlenose dolphin. As if souls are costumes, as in you used to be somebody, but now you're just passing through. And since your inner salesman once not only cut the Gordian knot, but also tied it, attention must be paid. As if spirits hang in the backs of closets, driven by the fear of insignificance. You walk around a past you never had, hide inside a museum made of air, miss the meaning of significance, the meaning of life in the moment. You don't have to be St. Francis to talk to the sparrows. You don't have to be Joan of Arc to hear heavenly orchestras. You don't have to be Shakespeare to know the world can be rotten, full of accidental judgments, casual slaughters. This is the time on earth. Smell the sun, reap the wind, investigate love, pet a dog, search the wonderment in his eyes. You may see me looking right back at you.
Community. You can see where the wear slips away. You can touch the ends. You know the limits. You are on an island. And when you live on an island, the pull comes from the heart, gently pushing you to the center of you. Generously within reach, doors are open. Doors are always open on an island. The we becomes the loyal we. Surrounded by water and warmth, needs grow strong yet willowy. Empathy blooms under sheltering bowers. All the wary blow out to sea. Your neighbor turns around to reveal yourself. This is home. This is sanctuary. Winds bracing, thoughtfulness embracing. How it all happens is the how of life. To be alone is a matter of choice. Together, you are an island.
Wings to Madness. Under the broken sleep of the jacaranda tree, the lark sang in complete sentences. The goldfinch pecked in syncopation. The loon provided harmony. Together in chorus they hummed through the rests and codas. But that was then, before our sleep crept over the fires spread among the oleander and belladonna like an endless military nest abandoned by hawks and handsaws alike. Before, when the sylvan arms of sanctuary bore no burden, no strange fruit, before when the sun taught the moon how to rise before dark, before when we believed in birds.